Oh, she's considering twirling. Maybe. So this is a beautiful skirt that came to me via Bestie is having a closet clean out, right? So I don't know how old it was before I got it. And then I got it and wore it a couple times, but it's shorter than I like on me. But my child loved it and wore it. And so I cut the elastic waistband out and shortened it a bit, put it back in, and it was officially my child's. Now I've already mended it before. Let's see. And I'll show you one of those in a minute. And that was a few years ago now. And now it's got mud on it because my child was playing in mud when they showed me, hey, look, Mommy, the skirt is full of holes again. So I'm not washing it until after it's mended because it would probably just dissolve. Darn it, why is the thread being fussy? It would probably just dissolve if I didn't mend it first. There we go. And inexplicably, I seem to be starting on the hardest one because, see that? Right? But it's not actually a hole. It's just that the fabric dissolved at a place where there was a pleat, right? So I need to recreate that. Pleat is probably overstating it. Very slight gathering. And then I can stitch everything up just fine for this particular hole. There's a wide variety to be had for this mending. We'll have fun with it. Like I said, let me get this regathered and then I'll show you. Come on. What the end result will probably look like from the last mending, which, like I said, was years ago and has held up. Come on, you. Very well. There we go. Oh, I did that out of frame, didn't I? Let's see. Mud. There. I'm gonna have to find some light yellow thread to use this go around too. Let's see. Years old and gauze. And yes, it's visible. It's not visible when you're wearing it, it just adds to the texture. So if you're not into this, look, I'm afraid that's all you're gonna get out of me, aside from some light embroidery and maybe decorative patching. But if you are into this look, then you can watch me do the same tiny stitches a million times. Ugh. So the technique is exactly what I always use and shall continue to use, but this white thread is just entirely too thick, and I'm vexed. So I'm gonna leave it there, because why would I take it out? But it needs help in hiding. And snip, snip, snip. Never been in here before. Got it at the secondhand shop. Apparently they taped it in such a way that the hinges don't work. There we go. Now let's see what we have. I need a light yellow. Oh crap, I'm gonna have to like unravel this, aren't I? That one's a little creamy, but that one's a little neon. Creamy's better than neon. Oh, wow, they really cram these things in here, don't they? Nah, we're not worrying about that. There we go. So this will be a learning curve. Click back on, curse you. Okay, never mind. I'll figure that out in a minute. And then I have this, which is also secondhand shop. $5 for $1. Pretty sure I paid more for it than that secondhand. Back when Kmart existed. So I think it's not ideal, but I think it's okay. And I won't have to unravel it like I will this. Alright, I'm gonna play with this, try and disguise the disaster that is the white thread, and then we'll move on to this gaping hole and these two fair-sized holes and other various and sundry things. Okay, so separating out threads from what's it called, skein of embroidery floss is so tedious. Oh my god, it wraps around itself so horribly. But in spite of being tedious, it's also totally worth it. This looks so much better. Can you tell? I think you can tell. I think you can tell it looks better. And so, as demonstrated by my experimentation, you can just like try things and keep trying things. You don't have to commit. Now if you have a vision, then you do test pieces and whatever, and that's awesome. If you don't, if you just have a love of texture and a desire to see a favorite piece of clothing continue to exist, then you jump in and you have fun. You start with the low contrast stuff and then move up to whatever you want. There, see? That was one really big hole and one small hole, and now it's perfectly functional skirt again, which is awesome and makes me very happy. And eventually it'll be really funny because this entire skirt will have become like, I don't know, the idea of fabric held together with little like cross-hatched pieces of sewing thread, and that will be very cool. And that's the sort of thing that is conceptually really cool, but if you sat down to actually just do it cold turkey, want to change the entire skirt into that in one go, I at least would get incredibly bored and stop pretty quickly. But you give this skirt a few more years and it will be so amazingly pettable, just a tactile delight, and that will be awesome. And also all the little colors, well, mostly blue and yellow and green. We're starting with green this time. It was just blue and yellow last time. I'm babbling, aren't I? I was going to talk until the thread finished. I think that seems excessive now. And mud. The mud will come off when I wash it. It has plenty of times before. So there's that hole, and this weird L-shaped one, and this huge one. And it's all coming together nicely. But it's also astonishingly fragile in the early phases. Considering how durable it becomes. That initial bit. Well, I guess that's why with weaving, proper weaving, you have a loom. I do have a loom. I just don't have anywhere to set it up yet. And besides, that wouldn't do any good for mending, would it? So we're going from really fragile to much more stable. I think after this one, a blue one is in order, and then, oh, sorry, and then I think we'll be done with this area of the skirt. I was going to show you the adorable bunny rabbit, but she's being difficult. So here was one enormous set of holes, and chaos. Must be the other way, huh? Here's the other set of holes that are holes no longer. Next up, tossing it in the washing machine and the dryer to get rid of the mud. You want pets now? All better? So we are washed and dried and all clean, and I was looking for the weakest spot so I could put the patch on it that I'd been kind of thinking about, right? And instead of that, this skirt, when I say it wasn't meant to last, it's stuff like, here we go. See, it's serged, but here we go. See, serged, and just there's the one layer of stitches barely holding the fabric together, even when it was new. I like much more enthusiastic seams personally, but because I'm sure it was a giant warehouse somewhere with not ideal working conditions, see these tiny little holes? This was pinched up inside of this seam somehow, and same with this. It's happened here and there around the skirt, and it doesn't really affect anything, but I thought I can cut those two weird bunchy areas loose and sew a patch in that location as the most likely next point of failure, and then I can prevent it. Yay! So next up is cross-hatching this patch into place. Yes, I'm going to leave the edges raw. I do not see anything the matter with what would it be? Raveled edges on this garment. Alright, me and my texture fetish, right? Once upon a time I bought like a bundle of lace scraps, things off the ends of rolls, I guess, maybe something out of somebody's attic, maybe, but also no, probably just things off the ends of rolls. And this one, my friends, was perfect to cut in half and be the same length as the patch. Did not plan it like that. Complete impulse decision. So, look, it's so tiny and cute. So it gets lots of teeny tiny little stitches holding it on. And then it will be another facet of the texture. Now, there we go. Now I was planning on embroidering the patch in black thread, and I don't know why I was planning on that, but in my head it made sense, and now that I've got it on there, doesn't it just seem like black thread would not just contrast with the patch, which it needs to, but contrast with like the whole skirt too much, right? So can't use black. My next thought was that one, I was complaining about it being too thick, but I can't use that one because the weight of it would just detract from the whole mess as much as the black thread would detract in color. That particular white one would detract in weight. So I went scrounging and found this off-white, which is probably the one I'll go with. My other thought was a slightly darker blue, which could be pretty. And then when I was scrounging for the white, I was like, ooh, that's a gray. Lilac. Also pretty. I think most of it ought to be the off-white though. So, see? Looks like a little decorative, I don't know, pocket? But it's not a pocket. But, oh, that's right, the weight of the heavy thread not being okay, because the only reason the patch is okay is because this green fabric it's as much a gauze as the original skirt. It's nothing. So I'll have this lace on in a minute. So even with my favorite embroidery stitch, this color is disappointingly invisible. However, if I go backwards over the favorite embroidery stitch with just a running stitch, then that's a definite improvement. And I think we can make that work. Come on, silly. So, I was thinking about what I wanted to do for a pattern in this, and when it got to the point where I needed to start it, the last thing in my head was stylized dragonfly. And so it is, a stylized dragonfly. These stitches are kind of long, but look at the lovely pattern they make as infill. And goodness knows it goes quick. It's probably got a name, herringbone or something. Well, like I said, it's supposed to be stylized. That reads like wings, right? And it's my favorite stitch, just longer. Remember the barnacles we did when we were decorating that purse? Yeah. Except not in a circle, of course. And then I'll stitch back around the edges, outline them again. Maybe, yeah, I'll just running stitch around everything in this one after I get done infilling the wings. Make it pop. That'll be fun. There we are. Delicate and touchable and textured. The line around it helps frame it so it looks deliberate. I use that word too much. Next up, having the child try it on. Tomorrow, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning now. The child is being just as cooperative as ever, which is to say, not at all. Go forth, pirouette, my love. As you can see, the skirt looks fine. The child is wearing it. A twirl or something, Munchkin. The patch actually works, doesn't weigh anything down. Child is not twirling.